Hey, what's going on? Luke here. As of late, I've been making a lot of videos talking about the New South Wales Blues and their side for the 2023 State of Origin Series. Now it's finally come the time to talk about the Queensland side. Maybe not so much the Queensland side, but just one position in particular, and that is the fullback position. With Reece Walsh being ruled out, what an imbecile, I will just say. Between his antics in the actual last State of Origin game, his antics in his last Brisbane game, guys kind of, I don't know if he's going off the rails a little bit, but it kind of seems like it. But look, we're not going to talk about him in particular, more so who's actually going to replace him, because we know Reece Walsh has been absolutely fantastic for the Maroon'S side, but what I will say is, in previous years, whoever has chucked on that number one for the Queensland side, they always seem to be like the man of the match. Look to last year, Kalyn Ponga. It's going to be the first person I'm going to be talking about. He was a guy who, going into this series, I probably would have stuck solid with Kalyn Ponga. Generally, Queensland kind of stick solid with their side, in particular if it was a winning side, and that's exactly what they've done in the past. They didn't do it this year. There was a lot of talk about, is it the right move? Should they have put Walsh in? Obviously, the rest is history, and they've gone up 2-0, and they haven't missed Ponga in the slightest. Reece Walsh has been absolutely fantastic. He's been electric. Even so, I wouldn't say he's been the best player in the field by any means. He's definitely outplayed Tedesco, and he's been a threat every time he's got the ball. So that's what you want from your fullback. They haven't exactly needed him to be man of the match. The team in general has just been very good, but he has fit in really, really well, and he definitely hasn't looked out of place. He's been safe under the high ball and all that sort of stuff. But cast your mind back to last year, and Kalyn Ponga was absolutely fantastic. You can argue that they did win the series because of him. I thought that was probably one of the best we've ever seen, Kalyn Ponga. I don't think we've seen it before. We definitely haven't seen it after. And I think the main reason he didn't get picked is just purely because of injuries. Nothing to do with form or anything like that. I think overall, in terms of a higher, who is the actual better player, Kalyn Ponga, for me, is probably a better player than Reece Walsh right now. I think maybe Walsh has got a higher ceiling, but obviously the injuries have just been super cruel for Kalyn Ponga. At times talked about him, not even playing. The only problem is for Kalyn Ponga, also I will say, he would probably be the natural next in line, but this is where the dilemma comes in, is when he didn't get picked from game one. I know they've spun it a little bit where they've said he's come out and ruled himself out and all this sort of stuff, but let's be real. Kalyn Ponga ruled himself out of the State of Origin series after he didn't get picked, and he opted to play for the Knights, and he's actually been playing okay. But look, now creates a dilemma, and I say it's a dilemma, but it's 2-0. Queensland, this is a throwaway game, and it feels weird. It doesn't feel right to be saying, we have a throwaway game for State of Origin, but look, it's just the reality of the situation. We've got to be real about it. I'm a New South Wales fan. This game means absolutely nothing. If we win it, the series is still lost. If we lose it, it's kind of embarrassing, but we already got smashed in the first two. So for Queensland, they can kind of experiment a little bit, and it just depends whether they do really want to experiment. You have the Hammer, who's in fantastic form. He's been absolutely killing it. In particular, actually been killing it for State of Origin too. He's in the centres right now. Now, naturally, your thoughts kind of go, all right, well, Hammer's going to move to fullback, maybe bring in a Dane Gagai or someone in the centres who's been there in the past. Or do you look for another guy who's also been there in the past too, AJ Brimson? He was one of the first sort of guys out of this new era after Billy Slater and, your Darius Boyds and that. He was the next in line, and then he sort of got some injuries himself, and then obviously Walsh and Ponga and all that sort of stuff. But I think Brimson, super underrated. I actually think he's one of the most underrated players in the game, and it's another case of injuries have kind of cruelled him as well. What could be for AJ Brimson, because when he plays for the Titans actually look like a really, really good side. It's just a matter of he's just not there long enough. Plays a couple of games and he's out injured again. And they also move positions and all that sort of stuff. But I really rate AJ Brimson. I would love to see him in the number one. I think he'd do a fantastic job. In fact, as a New South Wales fans, I kind of don't want to see him there. But he's also a guy who's quite versatile as well. So you could always, bench spot or whatever. But Brimson is definitely an option. Obviously, I've talked about Ponga. You also have the Hammer. I've already touched on him. The other smoky for me is Cameron Munster as well. Queensland have shown in the past that they don't mind moving players from position. A guy like Cameron Munster, he seems to shuffle around a lot between fullback and a 5'8", depending on where they need him at the time. I think Cameron Munster is definitely a chance of playing fullback, and we've seen in the past, he definitely lives up to the hype at fullback too. He's been man of the match at fullback. The guy's he's just a competitor. He's just a weapon in whatever position you put him in. They've chucked him in the centres before, I'm pretty sure. You can chuck him anywhere and he's going to do a job for you. And I think he'd be fantastic at fullback. You could bring in Tommy Dearden, who's got his form back up again. He's been there in the past too and has looked quite good. So Queensland have quite a few options The only one is the Hammer, who hasn't really played fullback for Queensland, but he's been looking really good in the centre. So it's not like he hasn't played Origin, just not fullback at that level, but the rest all have. So it's kind of a nice little dilemma for Queensland to have on who they're actually going to pick. Meanwhile, for New South Wales, we're here talking about Tedesco. We're looking at the future, and all of our backups are all injured, and then, you know, the backups after them, are they up to scratch? We don't really have anyone who's like an out-and-out next in line. You know, there's, you know, Dylan Edwards and you've got Drinkwaters and that, but there's nobody who's like, oh, well, Tedesco's been out before, we just chuck him in there. Latrell would probably be a natural one, Tommy would be a natural one, but both of them are injured. So it's quite the switch up from previous years where, you know, New South Wales have always had, you know, they've had a very, very good side on paper. There's been a fair bit of depth. You know, in previous years, maybe like your Nico Hines or someone would be at fullback, but, you know, he swapped positions, and Pappenhausen was there, and, you know, it seemed like we had so much depth, and all of a sudden we don't have it. Whereas Queensland, like, look at all the guys I just named. They are all world-class players at this point and absolutely killing it at club level, killed it in the past for State of Origin, and that's the thing too that's interesting, is that they have played for Queensland in the past or currently playing for Queensland. Val Holmes is another one you could easily chuck there as well. They've all played there, and they've actually all played really, really well. But in saying that, Corey Allen's played fullback for Queensland, and he looked, actually he didn't look very good, but they still got the job done. It just shows that Queensland can kind of just chuck in anyone and they look half decent. So, you know, if you can chuck in some, you know, fringe sort of guys, imagine what you can do with a Brimson, what you can do with a Hammer, what you can do with a Val Holmes. Heck, they might even chuck Dan Gagai back there, just put him at fullback just for the lulls. Maybe they'll just throw a spanner in the works. Maybe they'll just chuck in someone random. I don't know. Queensland can kind of do whatever they want at this point. They're up 2-0. Doesn't really matter too much what they sort of do, but I just thought it'd be fun to sort of take a look at all the prospects for the Queensland fullback position in Game 3 of the 2023 Origin Series. For me, personally, I would go with Brimson. I think you don't have to change any other positions. Ponga's already ruled himself out. Obviously, he can backflip, but I think Brimson, he's been playing good enough. He's been there, he's done it. And you can just chuck him in there. You don't have to worry about, you know, moving a centre to fullback and then bringing in another centre, or moving a halves player. You can just chuck him in there and you're good to go. You're sweet. You don't have to worry about it. So that would be if I was Queensland, that would be my preference. Go Brimson. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think Queensland should do? Should they bring in Brimo? Should they move the Hammer? I feel like Hammer Seiferdo or Brimson are probably going to be the two main ones, but I also think Munster, like, also could be in anything. He could be incredible. You can move Ben Hunt into the halves. You know, Dearden's obviously another one. They got a lot of options, Queensland. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below what is the best option, because I'm intrigued to see, because I feel like it's kind of open, this one. There's no obvious one, so I'm intrigued to what you guys think. So let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up here. Hopefully you did enjoy that one. If you did, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We're getting ever so close to 15,000 subscribers, and obviously the more likes the better, the more views, the more people who see the channel, the more people who see the videos, the more growth for the channel as well. So if you go ahead and leave a like and subscribe, it'd be very much appreciated. Also, speaking of appreciating people, shout out to every single one of the members. We actually got a couple of new ones. I've seen them all on the screen right now. Shout out to every single one of you who've become a member, and also who's left super chats as well. The super chats, can't forget about them. They are just as important, if not more. Put it this way, in general, you guys have been killing it all around, whether it's members, super chatters, even just likes and views. You guys have been absolutely killing it in general. So thank you so much for supporting me and supporting the channel. And also, if you want to check me and follow on social media, it's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke on YT. That's my Twitter, Instagram, my Snapchat, and I think my TikTok as well. So TikTok and Instagram are probably where I'm most active on. So go ahead, give me a follow, give me an ad. And look, stay tuned for more content on the channel. I've got plenty of stuff planned. I've already planned out the week. I've actually got a video already made for later in the week. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you in the next one. See yous.